Right then, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to finally play the dreaded class. We're going to basically talk about artillery, talk about our artillery nerf 2.0 that should be coming out sometime in the next year or so. Wargaming are basically thinking about finally nerfing these horrific monstrosities that are known as the Sky Bleep. But yeah, I'm sure many of you will know exactly what I'm on about, but these are horrific within the game. 2,250 damage if you manage to pen, which with 120mm against the top of the tanks that you're going to be firing at. Yeah, it's certainly not too difficult, and with the 370mm of AP rounds that you do get, dealing 1800 damage, the highest alpha damage on any AP round probably in the game. Yeah, just bonkers really when you think about it, and considering we've still got accuracy buffs from update 6.0, should you have been around for longer than then, more of a veteran player, as I'm sure quite a few of you actually are, and in the comment section I always see that. So yeah, anyway, leave your comments as to how you're feeling about artillery right now. Does it disgust you that I am playing the T92? Obviously, because I am a self-prescribed pig, I have put the pig emoji on my artillery just as a kind of signal to know that I do know that it's disgusting to be playing these kind of machines in World of Tanks Modern Armour or World of Tanks console, and certainly I am an advocate for them being nerfed. I'm not an artillery sympathiser, even though I have played a lot of games in artillery when you go through those periods where you're just sick of playing this game. As I'm sure many of you know, if you've played World of Tanks, you go through those periods where you just cannot be bothered to play the game, and if all your friends play it, then you kind of get left out. And so yeah, artillery was kind of my compromise when I went through those kind of periods of time. Obviously, within the most recent times, I've had the videos to kind of keep me going and keep me entertained during the game. Even if you are playing something like a Churchill GC or a TOG 2, at least it's somewhat interesting to know that you guys will probably enjoy playing or watching and playing those kind of tanks. That there will be some videos coming soon on stuff like the TOG, but this one is definitely focused on artillery and just the sheer overpoweredness or the sheer just disgustingness that artillery really has. And I'm sure that maybe this game, maybe we won't, but we're hoping that we can get a fairly decent game, or at least showcase why artillery is just not fair in the game, because essentially you're just a tank that can sit at the back, you can deal damage to people that have no chance at actually dealing damage to you, you can deal damage to people on the move, you have splash radius so you don't even have to hit, and then you've just got these disgusting AP rounds that if you put the equipment on to be able to swap between your rounds, as you can see in the bottom, I can just swap between my AP and my HE rounds. And yes, there's premium HESH rounds or HE rounds, which mean that you do more splash damage, which mean that I can miss further away after firing money essentially, and I'm going to be able to deal more damage to someone. Yeah, I know exactly what you guys are probably thinking, that how is that balanced? Well, it's not. It just isn't balanced whatsoever. And what you want to be seeing is exactly what's happening down in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, whereby all of these heavies and these this tank destroyer all bunched up nice and close together. And when you've got the premium HE, as we're talking about, with the nice amount of splash radius, then this is kind of the perfect shot that you'll be wanting to be dealing, because yeah, I just missed two people by shooting right in the middle of them where there wasn't particularly that close, and I've still done 850 damage to them. Yeah, tell me how that is balanced. And now that there's more and more people coming towards this corner, I'm just rubbing my hands together. And trust me, you can rub your hands together in artillery, because yeah, you literally have a 30-second reload and then you literally have nothing else you can do during that period of time. Now we see that the Malshan is having fun by getting pushed by the E75. Oh, we missed him again. 600 damage. Oh, God. How bad is that? That's so awful. Just utterly bonkers, the artillery. And I'm sure many of you, I don't know if you've ever actually watched tier 10 artillery, because there aren't that many artillery videos on YouTube. I probably think that's because they're probably unpopular with the player base that I'm kind of trying to showcase it to. Yes, I fully agree, artillery is a disgusting class, but what you'll see here in the bottom right hand corner, as you see, hopefully, just hopefully, we'll hit right there, and that's a nice, like, what, 2,000 damage in one shot because we missed or didn't pen someone? Wargaming. I'm not entirely sure that this is particularly very balanced, and when you can fire premium HE, it's just ridiculous. You know, you don't even have to pen people. I'd rather splash than actually pen someone. I mean, what sort of gameplay mechanics are those? But I'm not going to complain too much because we're about to do it again. Ooh, there we go. Yeah, just actually bonkers. 2,000 damage nearly again with that shot, and we took out 2 tanks with 1. It's just unbelievable, this kind of class within World of Tanks. I'm sure many of you will know that, yes, although I have done 4,500 damage, I'm probably going to get taken out now because I don't have the speed, but that's not necessarily that bad of a thing. We've still picked up 2 damaging hits, and maybe, just maybe, if we fire an AP round at this object oh, we took him out as well because, you know, artillery's balanced and stuff, and 6,500 damage later, we are going to basically win this game now, even though we, as a singular artillery, will probably get taken out in just a second. Maybe we'll reload, maybe we won't, I don't know. Maybe we'll get another damaging hit, I don't know, but yeah, it's probably unlikely. Going to stay stationary. Obviously I could move to be able to get a better shot, but it's probably not worth it, and it looks like we will get another shot on the opponents that we're going to be coming up against. There's a waffle, and it's probably bye for him. Yeah, we've just basically held off an entire flank with an artillery, and for those of you that say, oh yeah, but you got lucky, well no, this is pretty consistent. It's just whether or not you actually hit the opponents, whether it actually goes in the right kind of circle, and there's absolutely nothing that the Malshan or any of those heavy tanks could have done better. And yeah, we've essentially dealt 6,500 damage, and it is live, by the way. You can hear me moving around with my controller. Yeah, basically just disgusting. We literally didn't know what was going to go on that game, but apparently it's just disgusting things, and hopefully we'll get another shot off on this object 705A. We'll probably hit behind him, which will mean we'll still probably get him anyway, but yeah, there we go, picking up the final damaging hit of the game and the final kill of the game, and showing you exactly why something like a T92 at tier 10, probably one of the better tank, artillery pieces at least in the game. 6,937 damage, we came top, and a mastery badge, Gauze medal, high caliber, and we are at 67.8%. Yes, I do fire a lot of premium AP, which means that, yeah, we don't necessarily get consistent damage because I find it much more fun to AP round people. But there we go, 102,000 silver earned as well, meaning that the T92 is just disgusting. We will, just for balancing reasons and to kind of give yourself a better opinion of artillery, we're going to play something that isn't so overpowered or blatantly overpowered as the T92 HMC. We're going to be playing in the Batchat 15555, the tier 9 artillery for the French line, and you'll see what the difference is between the two, and hopefully it will kind of give you some sort of knowledge about not just having a blatantly overpowered tank, but just how consistent artillery can be within the game. If you get someone that doesn't just have a P for a brain within artillery, which, as I'm sure many of you know, is probably more difficult than you think, but there we go, 1,250 with the standard rounds on this thing, and you get heat rounds, which don't have the most amount of penetration, but you still do 750 damage if you manage to pen with this thing. It's really, really great for shotgunning, and we get one of the most fantastic Prokhorovka maps. At the end of this video, I am going to highlight a clip that I had in my T92 as well, that I'm sure many of you will really enjoy seeing. It's the most damage I've ever dealt in one shot. Yeah, just utterly bonkers, and I mean just from one penetration we managed to get a substantial amount of damage. I'm sure many of you will want to stay around and have a look at that later on. Prokhorovka, however, with the Batchat 15555, of course we'll make the standard pre-game setup and have a look at the tanks that we can pen on the enemy team. Well, we've got things like the machine we can pen very, very easily. We've got the Waffly 100, the T100 LT. We've then got the enemy artillery, which if you really want to be toxic and be an artillery scum, then you'll probably want to be shooting at the enemy artillery within the game. Not my kind of cup of tea, to be honest with you. I just don't find it very fun dealing only 500 damage when you hit someone, as opposed to consistently dealing like 1200 if you aim for someone else. Even if you do miss, it's better, in my opinion, to be going for someone that actually has a decent chunk of hit points. And yeah, it's kind of one of those secret little packs that you should probably have in an artillery. You just don't go for the enemy artillery, or at least I don't when I'm playing. Now, can we get the enemy light tank? No, we can't, because he went the other way. I thought he was going to go over into the bowl. He doesn't. But what does happen is that this Object 268 version 5 has been spotted. We're going to aim just slightly above his tank, which means that we're going to get a nicer hit. He's now been tracked, and we missed by a country mile. This is kind of the difference in artillery, and why having a smaller artillery gun is not necessarily very fun. And that's because when you miss, you literally don't do any damage, how it probably should be. But you know, the artillery on the American line are just like, absolutely not. I think I'm going to have some damage. We do, however, manage to pick apart that lovely T100 LT right there. Did some damage to him, 1200 damage. Yeah, pretty much shows you what the tank can still do. And we're in a tier 9 French artillery that isn't particularly that overpowered. You see the artillery scumbags on the enemy team are actually trying to go for me, because, you know, that's so fun getting the 440 damage as opposed to the 1200 that you could probably consistently get if you just aimed properly at the opponents and waited for the shot that is going to be correct. Anyway, enough just crapping on the enemy artillery. We're going to be aiming for the machine now, because yes, the machine has absolutely no side armor, and if we just aim a little bit... Oh, the machine's coming. Oh, 500 damage, thank you very much. And if we manage to get him tracked again, which often you'll do in an artillery that fires as quickly as the Batchat 15555 does, yeah, you can still rack up some nice damage. We'll try and go for this shot, but it's going to be very, very slim. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that one to hit, but we're reloaded in another 15 seconds, ready to do 15 or 1200 damage over again. And the thing with the artillery on the French line is that because it is just so accurate, if you fully aim, you can actually aim for people's engine decks using the third-party view. And trust me, when people are like, no, you can't hit with the French artillery, you can't aim with artillery, they're just it's just wrong. Yes, you can aim with artillery, and trust me, when you do aim with artillery, it's 10 times better, because I see so many people going like this. Oh, look, there's a light tank, let me just like instantly fire and hope I get him, and then they complain when they miss. Well, obviously you haven't actually aimed. You wouldn't play a normal tank and hope to hit something like wiggling your turret around and then looking around. So yeah, definitely fully aim. That means that you're going to hit more consistently, and you'll probably see that you can lead your shots a hell of a lot better. As we try and lead this shot against the Object 705, we did mislead that, just as I complain about people not aiming properly. Anyway, 2 heavy tanks pushing our tank. One thing that you need to be doing in artillery, or at least thinking about, is what's going to happen once your team are get taken out of the game, because yes, your team do eventually get taken out of the game, because you've just seen that our teammate there, the Centurion Action X, did get taken. And so what we're going to do now is hopefully hit the 50 TP, get him out of the game, although doesn't actually need any help. He's decided he's going to leave on his own. But yeah, E5 here now. What you see, most people don't realise, yes, you can still hit the E5 even when he is behind the thing. You just have to find the right kind of line. And yes, you can shoot over and under things, you can go through buildings, you can do all sorts in artillery, and I've seen it all, having played the amount that I have in the T92. I'm not proud of it, but I certainly did enjoy it. Nothing to be really said there. Anyway, went for a bit of a YOLO shot on the 54. Did manage to actually hit him, which is surprising. But you can see in a tier 9 artillery on not particularly the best kind of matchup, where we haven't got that many lightly armoured enemy tanks to be able to shoot at, we've still managed to pick up 2,300 damage. Yes, we're probably not going to have like an amazing 5k damage game or 6k damage game like we did in the T92, but you can see that, yeah, you can still have games like this where you still just outshine the opponents. And yes, there's still a waffle on the enemy team who's on a nice chunk of hit points, and by nice I mean a chunk of hit points which we can take. And yes, we do. 1189 damage taken. We're getting very lucky in this this run through of games. Hopefully it does showcase why artillery is just absolutely disgusting in the game. Just not really balanced, is it? Like, let's be honest. I can reload in 15 seconds, and if I do actually hit the tank that I'm supposed to be shooting at, then yeah, you can do that in 14 seconds. 3,571 damage in a tier 9. Yeah, it's probably not the best game if you were playing a standard tank, but considering no opponent really took a shot at me, and I only got spotted once at the beginning when that light tank came really close, yeah, you can't complain whatsoever. There we go, the batch at 155.55, and then we'll lead on to that gameplay clip that I'm sure you'll probably want to be seeing if you enjoy watching some of the just sheer YOLO shots with the artillery pieces. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. What do you think about artillery? Is it going to get nerfed? Should it be nerfed? What would you do to actually nerf it? Would you go with a flat damage reduction on the artillery without actually buffing the reload? Would you go with something where it can fire smoke and it becomes just a complete support mechanic where you can't deal any damage? Or would you go with something like they have on PC where it's that horrific stun, which I don't think you should really have in the game, personally anyway, but there we go. Thanks very much for watching. If you want to check out more gameplay videos and how to get better at World of Tanks, then there will be some on screen right now, and hopefully I'll see you in one of those videos. Thank you very much. Goodbye.